Greetings and welcome. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, my presenters, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor, student, or human being. Because you may care nothing about Pilates, but in learning about core new tension, that matters because of your inherent characteristics as a human being. So, I only have 3 things on my list today. Use a notebook. How much? Oh, now more than ever. And go find the feeling. Okay, so those are vague enough. But except use a notebook. Use a notebook like this, and then when you get a new notebook, you put the date there, right? And you might put your name if you wanted somebody to bring it back to you, but you never know about that. And then you start at the top of the first page, and you go down, and you go to the top of the next page and take notes all the way down like this. And then go to top, all the way down, notes like this. Okay? You're taking a bigger chunk of notes that you can see all at once, and you don't have to look at each page by half as much. It's easier in capturing a bigger part of the sequence. So use a notebook to write down anything you got to think of or got to remember you got to do. Anything that comes to mind, you capture it in time as it happens. You don't organize it. You just write it down. And then I put a line underneath whatever that was I got to do, and I hide it when I'm coming back to writing down something else I got to do, so that every time I go to my notebook, what matters is me quickly and easily and clearly writing down what that got to do is, or the thing you got to remember is. You capture the sequence first, and then you organize it later, you group it later. But you have nothing to work with if you haven't at least caught it in the moment that you can come back to and organize later. So even if you've never used one before, you may find yourself in a position where you're just overwhelmed and writing it down, and then writing it down in flow of the sequence of it happening. You not only capture it, you capture the order in which it happens. So it's a journal, a log, that kind of thing, right? Number 2, now more than ever, we need to be doing Pilates. From the Michael Miller Pilates brand of Pilates point of view, doing Pilates means moving, actually doing. You're moving, and you're moving uniformly. Uniform eccentric loading is the definition I'm falling onto, as you can as well if you know the definition. Uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. Uniform, it's all the way throughout the body, is our muscular engagement, its whole body. Eccentric, in that we do reach out away from ourselves, and we don't do it by squeezing a tube of toothpaste and sprouting out by having a thin waist. In MMP, we acknowledge the reality of core new tension and see that its rotation between axes that produce the elongation that's going on. And that in doing Pilates, you're doing the mat, and part of that mat is progressive loading, where as you move from exercise to exercise, you take on more and more of your own body weight. You start supine, flat on your back, and you end up standing to walk away and go be human. And then number 3 is go find the feeling. Again, within the point of view of MMP, I'm Michael Miller. This is my brand of Pilates point of view, and it comes from a theory. It comes from me looking to explain my experience. And that ended up going full circle for me to understand that Pilates is the experience. And within the MMP point of view, the experience is defined directly by Joe. Contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. And in his next paragraph, he says, contrology develops the body uniformly. Now you can take that as that's the result, but it's much more accurate in the MMP point of view, in this point of view, that it's a statement about the means to which you accomplish what you're doing. Contrology develops the body uniformly, comma, and then more. But within the MMP point of view, taking Joe at his word, that means whole body. And then here's where you get to make a leap from what's contemporary and common and conventional, all based on folklore. You get to come to a point of view of biomechanics that's new to the world of biomechanics, and that is oppositional rotation between axes. And that's my claim to fame. That's what I give to you. That's where it came from. I feel it in my own body. I have no science, no data to back it up, but I don't need the science and the data to recognize the fact of the matter, is how I would put it. Now it may not be, but my way of seeing, it's just a fact of the matter, and I'm asking or suggesting to you that you see it that way too. I had so many notes. My conclusion was to focus on all these notes about surviving. Surviving is the issue. And in troubled times, especially when you're in troubled times and you're isolated, then having something to focus on, especially having something to focus on that you find a better coordination between your being, your thinking, and your observing, that makes you more present, the doing of Pilates. Diving in, looking for that complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. That within MMP is an experience, and the experience is Joe's own words. And that, according to MMP, is a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. And that's what draws everybody into this. And however much you want to intellectualize things, and the mind will insist on trying to do that. My great delight in Pilates is that thinking is a part of a participation and not the whole thing. And that thinking is one of three things you seek to coordinate in your moving. Whether you're doing Pilates or not. So you seek Joe's definition in the performance of the third thing that Michael Miller Pilates is based on, is the sequence of exercises out of Joe's book. First, Joe's definition, then his statement about how you do it, and third, the sequence of what you do. It turns out that to develop the body uniformly, it really helps to understand the biomechanics of core nutension, of oppositional rotation between axes in your body, and that creates a dynamic that helps distribute the load of your musculature, like between ears and shoulders, like that. So when I'm doing this, I'm engaging in tension between those two rotations. I'm engaging in tension between those two rotations, just like it happens between shoulders and hips. And then from hips all the way out to metatarsals. And when you do that, it yields a sensation. So I've already said that the Michael Miller Pilates point of view is a theory that Pilates has an essence of its own, based on the three things directly from Joe's book. So that's the authority that this point of view stands on. Now it just is a point of view like yours and mine and everybody else's. But it's very different in that it goes from a body of knowledge that's based on folklore and expands into a perspective of explanation. And as much as the heart of folklore would seek to preserve a subject as holding only authority based on lineage and generation and folklore with no explanation. See, in folklore there's no explanation. And that's a wonderful culture to live in and be part of. But in terms of surviving as a Pilates instructor, knowing how it works helps. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Go find my webinars if you haven't, because that's starting to take more of my time. And evaluate points of view. Realize there's a difference between folklore and theory, and that they're oil and vinegar, but they taste good on a salad. And 2 scoops of theory can make the sprinkles of tradition all the tastier. Because you get better results. Direct your thinking and Geist.